Now guys, if you've been watching my videos on my channel for a long time, you'll know that my car here was involved in a crash once. And yes, annoyingly, only a month old, and I hadn't actually installed the dash cam I had at the time. So what I did is go buy 5 dash cams and review them, and these were all specifically under £200. And since then, Nextbase reached out to me and sent me this, which is the Nextbase Piqo. Now I've been testing this for the past week or so here is my review of their new Nextbase range. And the stakes are high because I wired in my dashcam. I don't want to rewire the whole thing again if I don't have to, but if the image quality is better or the app interface is better, like with downloading files or accessing certain things, then I might consider it. But one perk I have seen is that the new one is USB-C, and I do like having all my gadgets as USB-C. But let's let you know what's in the box. So in the box you get a dual 12-volt USB-C socket, the power cable which is USB-C, and then the dash cam. And it's tiny, like really small, especially compared to what I have at the moment. For reference, this is what they look like side by side when fully installed. Then there's the spare window mount and cleaning packs and window stickers if that's your thing. This one, as you can see, is the 2K version, priced at around £119, correct at the time of recording, and the 1K version is £99, although I have seen recently there have been some offers on it. Again, correct at the time of recording. So I set everything up in the car and connected it a little bit like this just here. This is just a temporary solution so I can test them as close together as I can. So what I want to test first is the video quality. I'll do the same test that I did before with reading a number plate at various distances here. And then I want to test the app interface to see what it's like downloading files, because I have found that dash cams out there and their apps just aren't the best. Sometimes it's just quicker to take the micro SD card out and put it straight into a computer at home, which to be honest I might do later, but I still want to test the app out anyway. So first up, the video quality test. Now the reason why I do this test here is because this is just a number plate. Admittedly it does have the word subscribe on it, but it's useful to see where and what distance you can read it. So I start at the end of the car park and work my way forwards, closer and closer and closer until you can read it. Now last time on the other dash cams, most of the number plates could be read around this distance, 10 to 20 meters. So this new one is virtually no different. But it is good to see at what distance it can be read, because just in case someone cuts up in front of you, you might want to get their registration number. Now, when it comes to video quality, we have to factor in the price point between these two dash cams, because naturally, me going into this thinking, well, this is half the size and the image is probably going to be a lot worse. Now, the Nextbase 522GW did actually produce better results than all the other dash cams that I did in the test before. So if you guys want to see that, I'll link that down below. Now, when it comes to low light performance, well, this is quite surprising because considering its size, it's actually better than the 522GW. You can see here the comparison that I did this morning very early, just in a very dark road, just as the sun was rising. You can clearly see that the Piqo is better. Now, one would say, if you're going to get really technical, that it looks like the Nextbase Piqo is artificially boosting it. Out of the two, you'd probably pick that one because you can clearly see things, so that's pretty good. Now, when it comes to the number plate comparison test, as in this test I've just done here, you can clearly see again the 522GW is a lot darker and the Piqo is making everything a lot lighter, which I guess is good. But how does that compare when it comes to actually reading the number plate? Well, again, it is so close, but again, considering the price point of these dash cams, they are very close, except the 522GW is just a lot darker. So it must have a better sensor or something in the Piqo. Again, both of them are going to be around that 10-20 meter mark for actually reading number plates. Although I will add, when you're in motion, due to the frame rates that they use, it is a bit blurry. So it's more for static number plates, maybe if they're not moving so fast, for both of them. Now, when it comes to their apps, this is the 522GW. So this is what it kind of used to look like. Nextbase do actually have a new app for their new product line, which of course includes the Piqo. So on here you've got home, library, dashcam. There's a few extra features like SOS functionality built in, which I know a lot of cars like this one have these days anyway. But in here you go menu, and then you can access your dashcam in here and change loads of settings, which of course you can do on the dashcam itself anyway. But most importantly, this is the thing that I find that I don't like on dashcam apps, is when you go onto, for example, the dashcam, it takes forever and it quotes high-speed Wi-Fi connection when it really isn't. I'm going to keep this going in real time so you can see just how slow it really is. And I'm not near any Wi-Fi networks right now, so they're all like this annoyingly. Join And at the risk of making this video really boring, we'll skip ahead. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they're kind of like. Well, let's see if the new one's any better. And then this is their new app for the Nextbase Piqo. Now, completely redesigned. You can see at the bottom it says Home, Library and Download. So very similar format to before. And then quick access for like a live view in case you, obviously when you install it, you need to adjust it. Dashcam settings, and if you go in more, there's loads of other things that this new Dashcam has. Now for me, I'm not that worried about all the extra features that dashcams have. I just want a simple one that just goes in and just records and you never know it's there. So I'm not really interested in a lot of this stuff on here. I'm more interested about image quality and just the kind of subtlety that can just hide there and just do its thing. But this is the test. I'm not near any Wi-Fi networks right now and the old dashcam is off, so there's no interference. I do not have Apple CarPlay on, so no Wi-Fi interference. Let's test transferring footage from the new one. So, library. Now I know that connecting over Wi-Fi is always not the fastest thing, so that's why I'd always prefer to take the SD card out, or the micro SD card should I say, but let's transfer a file. Now it is taking just as long to load them up, but at least this time it is actually loading up the thumbnails for each one. And we're there, finally. So, download. Now this is the bit here where they always say establishing high-speed connection, but it really is not that fast. As I said, I wouldn't do this. I would purely just take the micro SD card out, which I did earlier to get those clips onto my Mac, but yeah, that's gonna take a while. They're all like this. I wouldn't say it's any better. At least this one actually connects. But yeah, they are quite slow at downloading files, and considering you might need several, it will take a while. Well, we're about, I think it's 2 minutes in, maybe 3 minutes. I'm sure the time was 9:46 when I started. So I'm gonna cancel this because it's taking so long. I started at like 9:46 or something, it's like 9:49 now. So yeah, you can see it's like 23%. It just takes so long. So let me put it like this. The app has a very good refresh. It's a lot easier to use. There's a lot more things around, but in transferring the footage over, it just takes so long. I'd rather just take the SD card out. And conveniently, it is on the left-hand side there, so it is easy to pop out, pop it into a computer or a Mac or something, transfer what you need, and put it back in. But yeah, just the app for transferring files just takes so long, so it's just like the previous dashcam. It's like all dashcams. They connect over Wi-Fi and they call it high speed, but it is anything but high speed. So to summarize, let's get on to the pros and cons and see if the Nextbase Piqo is worth it for you. Based on what I've seen, and of course the week of testing, the first pro I will say, is that it's a lot smaller and the footprint is just a lot less. There's even like a nice little cable clip there on the top as well, all neatly packaged together. So it just being a lot smaller, it just doesn't take up as much kind of real estate on your windscreen and can neatly tuck, if I didn't have that one, right up there out of the way. So that's really good. Then the next one I've got to say is the very, very good price point, because it's, you know, probably about 30, 40, maybe £50 cheaper than that one, and it's a lot newer. That's pretty good in itself. And then on to image quality. So the image quality I would say is a lot better than the previous one. There are some instances where the 522GW is a little bit sharper, but overall I've got to give it to the new one, the Nextbase Piqo, at that superb image quality and low light performance. It does just boost everything, as you clearly saw. Now on to the cons. So app connectivity, I've got to put that on there. It's exactly the same. All dashcams are like that. I just wish they wouldn't use the word high-speed connection because, as I said, it's anything but. But having said that, the new app is a lot better in terms of its refresh. It's a little bit more faster at doing things, but just transferring stuff is painfully slow, which is why I've listed that as a con. The other con as well, I would say, is that this one doesn't have a screen. Now, this is kind of like user preference, whether you want a screen or not. I've always wanted a screen on a dashcam, but actually the more of these dashcams I've tested, the more I'm more like, well, why do I need a screen? All I need is it to be there. So it's just worth noting that if you want a screen on a dashcam, obviously this one might not be for you because it's that much smaller. So there's pros and cons to it. So I guess the question is, guys, would I switch to this new dashcam called the Nextbase Piqo? I'm gonna say no, and the only reason for that is because it's so close to the 522GW. If, however, I was in the market for a new dashcam right now, I would probably go for the Nextbase Piqo because the image quality is that much better, app is pretty much the same as the other one, but that image quality would kind of sway it for me, and that lower price point. So that's pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to keep the Dashcam that I've got at the moment, but if I was in the market for a new one right now, I probably would go for one. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I have another video lined up in the next few days' time, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you then.